Hello beautiful souls, it is Sunday today and yeah, I've been walking a lot recently, but do you know what I realised? That I haven't recorded a wandering and pondering video in forever, and I actually thought I really miss filming these videos where I'm just walking and talking with no purpose other than just to free flow and just be in nature and allow it to unfold as I walk. Yeah, so here we are. It's a beautiful day today. You can probably hear the birds are having the time of their life. I came on this walk yesterday. It's very close to my house. I can walk out my house and then within 10 minutes I'm in this forest in northwest Oxfordshire. Honestly, it's like the most beautiful time of year at the moment, and in February, honestly, it rained for the whole month, and it got to the point where I was like, okay, this is like where the winter depression kicks in. But now I'm like, look at all of this beauty because of all that rain. So gratitude there. The beauty the beauty comes after the rain. The beauty comes after the hardship. All of the juicy goodness comes after the hardship, and I truly believe that. But yeah, I came on this walk yesterday and I was like, enjoyed it so much that I decided to come again today and bring you with me for a wandering and pondering. And those of you who are new here, wandering and pondering were like the first weekly videos that I was doing, because I'm a nature gal, I'm an elf, so I spend a lot of my time in nature. I'm like a forest and mountain gal. That's my happy place. So this was my first ever weekly content that I was creating when I was really starting up my YouTube channel last year. So yeah, it's just a candid, unplanned, unrehearsed wander through nature, where I just share whatever's on my heart, really. So we're walking through, I hope you can see behind me in a minute, all of the bluebells. Oh, they're so beautiful at the moment. It's like definitely way more bluebells than last year. I was saying that to my friend. It's like all of the fairy magic has come out, sprung out of the earth this year. So beautiful. I hope you can start seeing them behind me. When I get right into the center of this forest bit, I'll do a 360 so you can see. It's just incredibly stunning. This bit might be a good bit actually, because there's kind of bluebells all around me in every direction. All right, I'm going to do a slow 360. I just can't not feel at peace when I'm here. So hopefully by bringing you with me today on this walk, you can feel a little bit of this peace too. I feel like what we need more of in the world right now is peace, clarity, stillness, kindness and compassion, but we also need some strength and some rage and some fierceness, I feel, to get us out of this place that we seem to be stuck in a cycle of. I don't know what is going on with my ribbon. Bows are flopping all over the shop. Oh look, you can just see the blanket of bluebells behind me now as I walk. So if I can do anything today, it would be just to share some of the fierceness of nature, the resilience of nature, the beauty of nature. And just help you to feel a little bit better about yourself. Something that I have noticed recently, I thought I'd pressed pause on all of the shadow work since coming out of the year of the snake last year. But it seems that recently, really recently, last month or two, I've just been in like constant shadow work mode. Constant. And I think, it's like walking through a jungle. I think naturally, the more that we choose consciously to work on ourselves and therefore embody more of a sense of self-awareness, we just become more aware of our own bullshit. I think there's no kind of way to put it other than that. I'm just constantly aware of these thought patterns that are going round and round in my head, and it's just a total blessing, because I want to know what it is that's holding me back. I want to know what it is that's bringing me down and keeps sucking me down, and stopping me from moving forwards and elevating. But it's been quite constant recently, which is interesting. And something that's definitely helped and perhaps even highlighted it is reducing my social media outlet down to just one, which is now YouTube, obviously. Letting go of Instagram. And I noticed a huge sense of ease and peace within myself from letting go of Instagram, because it's this constant feeding of, I don't want to say negative, but this constant feeding of belief systems and energy and voices that are not of our own in our faces, feeding us this information. And and that's like receiving unconsented advice. I don't know if that was the right word. Receiving advice and information that we didn't ask for, which is unconsensual. So it got to the point where it just felt like it was just this constant attack on my psyche. And I'd have felt this huge sense of ease and of peace within myself, because, this is a bit of a crawl. Right, I think we're coming out of the forest now. So let me just give a quick one more turn around, just so that you can see how beautiful it is. We're going to be coming across lots of different terrains today on this walk. So life is hard enough as it is. I feel like we don't need tens of millions of different voices and opinions telling us why we're living our life wrong, or how we should be doing things better. And there's nothing wrong with striving to do better, but I feel like it should be when we're seeking for that, not people shoving it down our faces. And often voices that are just speaking through the filter of their own experience and their own trauma. So how do we know that the information that other people are sharing is relevant for us and that is safe and healthy for us to absorb or even follow or believe? That's been good. But even I found with YouTube, and I love YouTube, big up YouTube, and I do feel that YouTube, you have more sovereignty over what you search for and the information that you receive, but things still do pop up, especially if you're wandering through the spiritual realms. Certain videos can start to pop up and it's like, oh, hang on a minute, I don't like this. a trend that I was seeing on Instagram a few years ago, back in the time, you know, and maybe it's when wars happen, it sort of brings out the worst in people, which is obvious. My eyes are a bit watery now because it's very bright and sunny. We're about to walk through a really beautiful rapeseed meadow, even though I wouldn't touch rapeseed with a barge pole, but it looks pretty. Yeah, so this trend that was going on a few years ago, back when there was the war, the Ukraine war, this seemed to be a theme that was coming up. And then, of course, with Palestine and everything, there's this constant, and it really grinds my gears. So I feel like I'm going to talk about it. There's this constant voice of like having to blame a certain group of people. And it just, I'm so sick and tired of it. Because it's just feeding into the very division that keeps us stuck in this loop of control and false narrative that we're in the world right now. And it's lumping individuals into an extreme group stereotype with absolutely no compassion or consideration for the actions and the intentions of a single person. So like you'll get some people from very traditional spiritual backgrounds pointing the finger at New Age and say that all New Age people are bypassing or all New Age people just want to be high vibrational. You know, and then you'll get people saying like, if you're not a Christian, you know, it's your fault. Everything's happening in the world. Or, you know, if you're not a Christian, you're a devil worshipper. And it's just like, it just goes on and on and on and on. And I find it really draining to witness, because the beauty that I find in the world is that we are all an expression of some sort of divine consciousness. I personally don't resonate with God, and that's my own experience. I'm not denying the existence of God. That's just a story for another day. I'm just going to turn around so you can see the rapeseed field. But I believe that we are all expressions, individual expressions of the same divine consciousness. So we all come from the same source. So why on earth, when we are living this emotional, multidimensional, physical, human experience, why on earth would we all want to look the same, speak the same, believe the same, follow the same rules? To me, that's like utter madness. And yeah, but anyway, that's just what I believe. And I think there's just so much beauty in diversity. You know, you can meet someone who just has such a beautiful heart and lives their life choosing to be kind to who they meet. And to me, that's the only important thing, actually. That is the most important thing. You know, I do have my own opinions, of course I do, about religion and about systems of control. But I don't judge other people for their choice of what they believe in. But if you are someone who is dogmatically following and preaching a belief system to the point where you have to point the finger of blame and degrade others and put others down just to build yourself up, I think that's very egotistical. It's very egotistical, and you might say, well, you're doing that now, Chloe. I'm not, because I'm not pointing, I'm not stereotyping, and I'm not saying one group is worse than the other. I'm actually honouring the actions and the intentions, the heartfelt intentions of each individual. That's what I'm interested in. That is what I'm interested in. You know, and I've been there. I've been in that space where I was vegan and, you know, just really like limiting my experience of reality because of spiritual belief systems that I had been taught and had been led to believe were the only way to happiness, ascension, enlightenment, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I don't even know what that is anymore. I'm just here to live in the moment as richly and fully as I can now. But I was that person, and I would find myself judging others and pointing the finger at others. But I've found now that, yes, of course, don't get me wrong, doing the shadow work and doing the personal development work is so important. Like, just having a sense of self-awareness for me is like right on the top of the list of being a well-functioning human. But I meet good people in all walks of life, no matter what people choose to eat, what jobs they have, you know, how they choose to have fun, what music they listen to. You know, there's this sort of spiritual belief that you have to only listen to high vibrational music, medicine music. But what about honouring sacred rage and all of the whole spectrum of emotions? Oh, just lost my mic there for a minute. Might be crunchy. There we go. Yeah, so I'm not going to go into that much longer, but basically I'm just a bit fed up of witnessing this pointing the finger and blaming. Because I actually, you know, apart from the really, really, really obvious black and white, let's just put a simple label on it of good and white as good and white, black and white, or good and evil. The obvious things like child abuse or taking someone's life. Obviously, those are evil things, evil deeds. But, you know, I truly believe that every human has a moral compass, and we are all entitled to our own experience of the world. And, you know, I have mentors and people I work with, people who I look up to and who I trust very much, trust wholeheartedly, but I still don't believe the same things as them. And I really want to honour that that is okay, because otherwise we can fall into that guru mentality and cult culture where it's like, I take care of you, or I'm educating you, so you have to believe everything that I say. And there's something controlling and unhealthy about that. So I really want to actually encourage myself first and foremost, and perhaps you, if you're watching this and this resonates, to really forge and build your own beliefs and your own experiences. And these can come from gathering lots of bits of information that feel really good for you in your heart, that empower you and just make you feel alive. That's usually what I follow. And you can take that and you can leave that and build that and ask yourself, you know, why don't I believe this? Why do I believe this? And it's like this kind of constant quest for an inner sense of knowledge and belief system. And I think that's powerful, you know. But what I also find is interesting It's hard for me to explain this without giving particular examples, but I don't want to bring other people into this video when it's just myself wondering and pondering. But for example, if I had a friend or like someone I work with and they really believe something and it's something that they teach, what I will say is like, I personally don't believe that, but I do believe a version of it, because most people are just having their own experience, and the way they see it and describe it and work through it is their own way, and it doesn't mean that they're wrong. I'm right, I'm wrong, they're right. It's not about that. It's about sort of taking a step back and actually empowering ourselves to say, you know what, I don't believe the same as you, but also I trust you. And I trust that you're doing what is for your highest and best good. So yeah, finding your own belief system. I'm just about to cross a busy road, so I'm actually just going to pause this filming and come back to it in a few minutes. All right, I'm back in safety now. Back in a really beautiful part. I'm hoping the battery on the camera lasts until I get all the way down to the river, because I really want to share this place with you. So we're talking about, your beliefs and the importance of that, but also when we build our own system of beliefs, finding a way of sharing knowledge in a way that is kind, that is not shoving it down people's throats as well. Because I used to be like that again. I've always been a rebellious, passionate soul. But when I was younger and I was in my, vegan, super healthy, angry age, when I was like 30, around that age, I just was just like, what's the word that I'm looking for? Woo! That was funny. I slipped on a rock and the camera just went whoop. Yeah, I was just like a train on a collision course, and I just wanted to bring everyone down with me. I didn't want that. I actually just wanted everyone to like wake up and see the truth of what I was seeing. But the problem is everyone is on their own journey, and we can be here as guiding lights or guiding darkness. But yeah, people ultimately have got to figure things out on their own. And I don't think there's a right or wrong experience of reality, but I do really believe that navigating through this life with kindness is of importance, if I could just share that. But yeah, I mean, I've had experiences in the past where other people's belief systems have really caused me to retract from being connected to my true self. So you do have to be careful. And other people's belief systems can cause a lot of fear within us too. So it's always good to come back and check in, like, do I actually believe in this? What do I believe in? And something that this person is passionate about, like, why do I suddenly feel that I should be passionate about it? Maybe I could just, let that person, what is going on with my bow? Maybe I should just leave it to that person and follow my own path and my own heart. Yeah, and to come back to what I was talking about earlier about this constant shadow work, and what I mean by that, because a lot of people ask me about shadow work, and I think it has a lot of different ways to be described, shadow work. But what I'm really working with at the moment is the voice in my head and really trying, it's almost like what I sort of am experiencing with my shadow work at the moment is like doing gardening and pulling out the weeds. And it's like, for me, I mean, I don't know if this is just my mind, but I'm sure some people watching this can resonate with this, but I tend to have quite an obsessive mental tendency. I mean, it probably comes with being neurodivergent as well. But I get this obsessive mental tendency. And one of the patterns can be like, in any situation, I get obsessed with like, that it's going to be the worst case scenario. And I've recognised that one now, so I can catch it very quickly and just be like, oh, don't think so, mate. Not today. But also what can come with the obsessive tendency is like, it can even be when, it doesn't have to be something negative. So, you know, let's talk about both ends of the scale. So let's say what would be a really horrible situation. If I had an argument with someone or a disagreement with someone that I really truly loved and cared about, and you know, when it's just like so heavy on your heart, you just get obsessed with it and obsessed with it, and I just, you know, can't sleep, can't think about anything else. But then on the other end of the spectrum, it also happens to me when I'm excited about something, and that's not healthy too, because it's like this all-consuming pattern of I guess it's like a codependency pattern of attaching, when it's something I'm excited about, attaching happiness to the outcome of this situation. Yeah, so it's really interesting shadow work. But what I've found is, for me, and this is just through my own introspection, my own self-work, that when I get these obsessive cycles coming in, whether it be the negative end of the spectrum or the high vibrational end of the spectrum, doesn't matter, both the same. I find them both equal to me. I don't find either good or bad either, by the way. It's all a teacher, it's all a lesson, and I find that when these obsessive patterns of thoughts are coming in, where it's just like, you know, all consuming, it's all that I can think about, I always know that it's coming to the surface because it's trying desperately to show me something, trying desperately to show me something. And it's been coming up for me, and I'm sharing this quite vulnerably. It's been coming up for me this weekend a lot. And yeah, I've recognised that there's this shadow within me that like desperately attaches my own self-worth to like the outcome of my, it's really difficult to explain, but the outcome of relationships with other people. So what's happened in the past is that it's stopped me from, or it's held me back from truly expressing myself and just being who I am, because there's that fear of like, well, if I am who I am, that person might run away from me, they might abandon me, they might not like me. And it's really interesting because this obsessive thought loop has taught me that. And I wasn't 100% aware of that before. I've always sort of had this kind of blasé attitude of like, I feel like I'm pretty comfortable with myself, and I'm not really bothered if people like me. But yes, that is with like general people. Like if I meet a new group of people, that is my attitude. But when it's people who people who I'm building a relationship with, who I care about, or people who I already care about, it's then. So yeah, the shadows and the patterns are complex, they're multi-layered, but it's super interesting. And my antidote for when these obsessive looping patterns are, my antidote, so what really works for me without fail is, butterfly. What works for me without fail is stopping, removing myself from the situation. So obviously in this case would be like no conversation. So for example, today I'm taking a phone detox. So I turn the internet off on my phone. So no WhatsApp messages, no social media. Family can call me in an emergency, and that's it. And it just breathes space. It breathes space, because what's actually happening is when our mind gets into these loops or these tendencies, it's just trying to protect us because we're feeling overwhelmed or unsafe, any of these little woundings from the past. So pausing and taking space. And something else that really works for me is, well, number one, doing nothing, which is what I did yesterday. I got up, okay, it's not going to sound like doing nothing, but for me, I'm quite an active person. So this was a nothing day for me. Got up, did some yoga, lay in the sun for about 3 to 4 hours, read a book, went for a walk, and then relaxed. So that was a nothing day for me. And then another activity that really helps as an antidote for when the shadows are coming up in a way that feels really intense and overwhelming is creating. So pouring myself into a creative channel. And today I'm creating content. I've also done a little drawing, and the reason why I'm walking with you down to the river today is so that I can sit and do some writing and some journaling and just pour my heart out. And then, you know, with that as well, another antidote is removing myself from my everyday habitat. I do find that being indoors at home, especially working from home, can feel quite suffocating. So when I'm on days off or I've got time to spare, come out in nature and just let the space of nature and all the birds just take care of me. But yeah, it's just so important that we spend time with ourselves, talking to ourselves like crazy people, getting to know ourselves and getting to know our shadows as friends. Like that obsessive shadow, there might have been a time where I would say, oh, that's not me, that's like conditioning or programming. Whereas now I feel like I'm evolving into a space of like full responsibility, where I'm like, that's just my mind trying to protect me. But there is something that wants to be addressed here. And perhaps those obsessive thought patterns are actually just trying to show me that I really do care about people, and I do want people to like me and think I'm a nice person. And that, you know, there's so many other patterns and shadows and woundings that are all interwoven into this as well. But rather than allowing it to become heavy and dense, I almost see it like a game now. It's like, cool, let's figure this out, like a magical mystery tour, so that when I really see and take responsibility for all of these parts of me and stop pointing the finger or blaming or giving myself away to an outside source, whether that be like, again, of a high vibration or a low vibration, I now see everything as one. Woo! Rather than giving myself away, taking that back and filling my cup with that. Because then I just become so much more okay with other people too. And I've really noticed, like, I mean, obviously, I will actually just say this with compassion. Obviously, the world we're living in right now is heavy and dense, okay? And yes, there are a lot of very evil things happening in the world right now, and it kind of feels like it's out of our control. So I understand why so many of us are suffering. But it's still a choice, and people are so negative and doom and gloom. Yeah, and I've totally lost my train of thought there. So it was obviously not meant to keep going on that. Oh, I do remember now. I do remember. And okay, I'm going to be honest with you. This is another vulnerable share. So about 13 months ago, I broke up with my partner of 3.5 years, and I promised myself I'm going to stay single for a year, not date anyone, not even like entertain any kind of romantic connection, and I stuck to it. But recently I have really been yearning to meet someone again and have that company and just have fun and flirt and get dressed up and get taken out. So I have been on some online dating apps, just surrendering to the reality of what modern dating is. So I've just been talking to various different people. It's just very, very casual at the moment. But what I'm enjoying is I'm just really enjoying observing how people relate, and without judgment. And actually, if someone sends me a message and I'm just like, obviously I would never even entertain that, rather than putting them down or saying anything back to them, I just laugh. I'm like, people are so interesting. So it's good fun. But one last thing that I'll share as well about online dating, 2 things actually, because there's 2 things that I've learnt. One thing that I have learnt within myself, and then one thing that my guides and my higher self have shown me. The first one is that, oh my gosh, like I actually believe now that relationships, whether they are new, exciting, romantic relationships or friendships, or I'm not sure about family relationships. I've only experienced this with online dating and then friendships. I believe, and this might only be reality for women because I can only speak as myself as a biological woman, relationships, oh my goodness, they are like the key to harnessing and really tuning in to our psychic powers. Because let me tell you, my goodness, this past year, not only even recently with the dating apps, but the online dating has really like concreted this experience for me. In the last year, like the psychic knowing, I experienced telepathy a lot, where I will think or see something and then it happens. And it happens the most for me in friendships and relationships. And I've noticed it with online dating, and this is like people that I don't know, I've never met, have barely shared a few conversations with them, and yet the telepathy and the psychic knowing is like almost instantaneous. So I thought that was quite cool. I wanted to share that with you and see what your experiences are. But it doesn't surprise me because, the sacral chakra, the sacral energy center is such a powerful source of emotional energy. It's just such a deep well of magical powers. So I thought that was cool. And then something that my higher self and my guides are showing me that through having conversations with new people and you know, beginning to build new, whether it's friendships or relationships, that I can take so much responsibility for how that relationship unfolds. And I really liked that, because of course we should have our own, you know, list of green flags and red flags, if you like. I think, you know, that's healthy. And it's good to know what we want, and it's good to be authentic and totally upfront, I believe, when you're getting to know someone. But in actuality, the more that we ourselves embody the qualities, obviously we can't embody all the qualities we want in especially a romantic partner, because oftentimes we want the opposite. But you know, if we want kindness, if we want respect, if we want generosity, the more that we embody that in ourselves, the more that we are naturally going to amplify the embodiment of that in the partner, in the relationship, in the friendship. And I kind of knew, like I intellectually knew that before, but I guess just because I'm starting to date and stuff again, it's like it reminded me of the truth of that. And again, just taking responsibility. I feel that's been the theme of this conversation today, of this rant, of this ponder. Taking responsibility and stop pointing the finger, but also stopping to give our power away to external sources, whether we see them as someone who is of the light or is who of the dark. Stop giving our power away and seek wisdom and guidance from within, and start trusting and believing in ourselves more. I think that's what I wanted to share today. So thank you so much for going on this walk with me. I've made it to the river. You can see it behind me there. So I'm going to find somewhere to sit down now and do some writing and some introspective work. And please do remember to like, comment, subscribe, share this video if you feel like it. All of the support means the world to me. Love you so much.